What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Twilight Imperium Junkies podcast. You got Henry here.
And this is Rand, and today we are coming at you with a very exciting podcast since the new Twilight Imperium 4 expansion was announced last week, Thunder's Edge, and that is coming to us online and in stores October 24th. So, big times ahead for the TI community.
It's so exciting. We're going to have a bunch of new toys to play with. It's like Christmas just got announced after having it on the horizon for years.
And when we say a bunch, we mean a bunch, because there really is a lot to this Thunder's Edge expansion, and that's what we're going to talk about today. So we're going to start from the very, very top, which is the box, the artwork. I wish I could show you guys this. If you haven't seen it, Google it right now, but the box for this expansion is gorgeous.
I just get excited seeing the text Twilight Imperium over new cover art. It's like, ooh, it's happening.
Yeah, and this cover art includes what we presume to be the 5 new factions included in this box.
A little bit of this looks familiar based on what's come out previously, right? We see these red ghosts, whatever they end up being.
Right, the red ghosts are on here. They were released in Codex 4 as a tease, I guess, for this expansion. And this expansion does actually include all the components from all the codices, including the Caleres faction sheet and stuff, so that is exciting. The faction on the forefront of the squad is actually the Bastion, which is also teased in Codex 4. Not by name, but they are a result of the Soul Extra Alliance that came out of the Ordinian scenario.
Yeah, if you're super cool like me and read the short story that was in that last codex, we saw the seeds of this faction being planted in that story that prominently featured a Extra and a Soul buddy. And it turns out this new faction is a collab, if you will. And what else? We see some lizard guys. We see some tiny little floating person. He looks like a troublemaker.
Like a water tadpole alien type situation.
I gotta say, I don't trust them. If you're playing this new shriveled up little guy faction, no good relations.
And this last one is this kind of like bird, fiery phoenix type situation. Again, we will find out what all of these really are when this comes out.
And also, we can't forget about this ominous cloaked group of 5 of the factions we already know. Looking kind of culty, looking kind of monkish. They can't be up to anything good. I mean, look at them.
Nazroka, Extra, Nalu, Hakan, Argent, the squad.
The squad, indeed. That's the squad. Rolling up in their cloaks.
Alright, so what is Thunder's Edge? Why is it called Thunder's Edge? Well, that is a legendary planet that is included in this box. It is a 5-resource, 1-influence planet. Wowza.
That is just so juicy.
And how it comes into play is this whole new mechanic that's introduced, which are expeditions.
Yeah, so Thunder's Edge doesn't actually start on the game board, but at the end of your turn, you're going to be able to spend something determined by one of the 6 expedition slots on the back side of the Thunder's Edge piece.
These expeditions include spending a secret, spending 5 influence, spending 5 resources, spending 2 action cards, 3 trade goods,
and what looks like exhausting a tech skip planet, perhaps? So each one of these slices can only be claimed once, and once all 6 have been claimed, then Thunder's Edge is going to come onto the game board. There seems to be a lot of room for shenanigans in how this Thunder's Edge placement goes, because the person who claimed the final slice gets to choose where the planet goes, but the player who claimed the most slices takes control of it. But, of course, you have to spend something in order to claim slices, and also, if you're the last player to commit to an expedition, you won't be able to choose which of the spend conditions is most accessible to you, because you only have one option left. But why are we doing this expedition to begin with? What do we have to gain? We're just spending stuff so far. This is how we're going to gain our faction's breakthrough, which are new, unique abilities that are going to be gainable by every faction that have some printed ability, but also have an interesting tech interaction.
So the example FFG is given on their website is the Arborex breakthrough ability, which is Psychospore. And this is a component action that says, exhaust this card to remove a command token from a system that contains 1 or more of your infantry and return it to your reinforcements. Then, place 1 infantry in that system. So, this is Arborex basically getting a warfare use every round, which is a crazy ability for that faction specifically, considering their production situation. And it's exciting to think that every single faction is going to have something bizarre, a breakthrough in their powers, if you will. And for this card, the tech synergy is red and green. So what this means is when researching techs, red techs and green techs become interchangeable in terms of prerequisites.
And also for scoring tech objectives.
That is wild and is just going to give every faction deep access into a different tech tree that they might normally never have the time to get to in a game.
Yeah, I love it. It seems like a great way to just get more high-level techs of different trees into the game more often. And a lot of them we don't see that frequently. We've been lucky to see the new X89 a lot in games, at least the ones I've been playing. But I'm excited to see what new opportunities in the tech tree this brings.
What happens if you don't claim a slice of the expedition? Do you never get your breakthrough? Well, there's certainly at least one way, which is the actual legendary ability card for Thunder's Edge, which says to gain your breakthrough when you gain this card if you do not already have it. And then there's an additional ability on that, which is to exhaust the card at the end of your turn to perform an action, which is very nice. Like, you can get that Fleet Log game-winning benefit without ever getting Fleet Log, which is cool. It's cool. You could plan for it in the middle of the round. Like, I need 2 actions. I don't have access to Fleet Log. I have access to Thunder's Edge. I think that's a very fun legendary ability to be adding to the mix here.
Yeah, totally. It also makes me think about sort of the meta game that might arise around breakthroughs and, oh, well, which factions are in the game? Okay, well, maybe that faction's breakthrough is really good or puts them in a great position given the game state that we're in. So how about you and I take extra expeditions so that they are not going to be able to get their breakthrough right away? It's fun. It seems like breakthroughs are, while you don't have them at the beginning of the game, it seems like they're going to be more accessible than, say, commanders for a lot of factions. So it seems like maybe it can be this transitionary step between the beginning of the game and unlocking your commander. And also, of course, with this tech synergy, odds are most factions want their breakthrough as soon as possible so they can make use of that throughout the game.
And that's a little bit about breakthroughs. We'll see how much more there is to them when the expansion comes out. The next component they've listed here is called the Fracture. First of all, these are very beautiful tiles. Very gorgeous tiles.
I want to wallpaper my house with these beautiful red tiles.
I'm gonna save this image and set it as my computer wallpaper right now, just cause. I mean, the pink and the lightning and it's just, even the planets themselves are like gorgeous.
So sort of reminiscent of the Wormhole Nexus, this is going to be a part of the game board that's sort of to the side and not directly connected to the rest of the galaxy in the same way other tiles are. The way the Fracture enters play is that whenever a player gains their breakthrough, they're going to roll a die. And if the result is a 1 or a 10, the Fracture is now in the game. You can get to the Fracture through these little things called Ingress tokens, which show up when the Fracture enters play, though it's not quite clear how it is determined where these Ingress tokens will show up on the game board. And there's a lot of juice to the Fracture. First of all, we got planets that give you relics when you gain control of them. And then we also have yet another legendary planet. Is Season Icon getting too easy, folks? Let us know. This one's called Styx, which just gives you a victory point.
So that's a fun planet, because you get Shard, you get Styx, and that's a double point planet right there.
But it's not all gonna be for free.
So just like in the keys we got for minor factions, there are neutral units in the Fracture that players have to get through in order to claim these planets. So the expansion does come with a set of neutral gray plastic, a full set of ships, which is cool. If you like a bland color for your gameplay, it's coming to you. You got it. Dreams do come true.
I'm one of those. I would love to play with this gray set. It's nice and clean. Also, I will say, if you're one of those people who likes for your players to play colors that match their factions, this will help if you just have one color left that does not match the faction at all. If you're like, oh, pink as a green faction, well, just give them gray and it'll be less offensive.
And now the neutral units are pink, and isn't that just fun?
Ooh, it would look good in that Fracture. Pink in the Fracture. I'm curious to find out if these are going to be just ground forces, if they're going to be ships. I mean, what if Styx is defended by a neutral flagship? That would be cool.
Alright, the next set of components we have are the Galactic Events, and we have been teased with these, and we have gotten a taste of a few over the past year or so, and they've been fun. We've tried them out, we've talked about some on the podcast, but we had no idea how many more there were behind the curtain, because even though we've only gotten a taste of a handful, there are actually 20 Galactic Event cards coming out with this expansion. And so that is just 20 events you can mix and match to create a totally new TI experience. You could play with all 20. I don't know how you keep track of anything at all, but it is an option to you.
We know that some junkies out there are going to be rolling into a 20 Galactic Event game immediately. And we wish them luck because they might just end up in an insane asylum after that.
Good luck to you. We'll come visit.
One of these that did catch my eye in particular was called Civilized Society, which is a strange one in which you start the game with all public objectives face up, and there's not the usual limit of public objectives you can score during the status phase.
Yeah, for this one also the game doesn't end when you get to 10. It's like starts ending, or however many points you're playing to. It starts ending at that point.
And then you close out the round, and whoever has the most points is going to win.
And if there's a tie, it's based on influence and unspent trade goods. So, that is a civilized society for you.
And I'm a civilized turtle. I'm a reasonable business turtle. That's probably why this one was of interest to me. But there are just so many. It's crazy. 20 events.
Right. They've teased Stellar Atomics, Age of Fighters, Dangerous Wilds.
I mean, we got to try out all of them at some point. Maybe not all at the same time, but we'll make our way through these 20 galactic events.
So that's all fun stuff. Now we have 5 factions. So that's awesome. They've released the faction sheet for the last Bastion, which seemed to focus on this ability called galvanizing their units. That lets them roll additional dice for both combat and even unit abilities.
Yeah, for those of you who played TI3 back in the day, it's reminiscent of shock troops. Basically rewarding your units that survive a combat with extra die in future combats.
You did good, son. You did good.
They also have this interesting faction ability, Liberate. When you gain control of a planet, ready that planet if it contains a number of your infantry equal to or greater than that planet's resource value. Otherwise, place 1 infantry on that planet. So first of all, I start thinking about the planets with 0 resources or 1 resource and lots of influence. I feel like this would be a way to rack up influence for custodians, perhaps, and also just early tokens. Getting to ready planets is nice. Or a spend influence objective. I don't know. Readying planets is good. Let's just say that.
I don't mind a readied planet.
Otherwise, you get an infantry on that planet. So you're getting value either way, no matter what, as you gain control. And we also have a look at their flagship,
which gives a +1 to the result of each of its combat rolls for each non-home system that contains a planet you control. So there's just so much incentive to go out and control tons of planets. This flagship also has a production of 1.
Yeah, it's worth noting that it hits on a 9.
But it could hit on a 1. And that's the strongest hitting ship in the game.
Yeah, it's also just 1 die.
That hits on 1.
So just doing a little mental math here. Let's say you take a system in front of your home system. Now it hits on 8s. You take 1 more, it hits on 7s. Maybe you take another one adjacent to home. So now it's hitting on 6s, but it's just 1 die.
It's hitting on 6s at the end of round 1.
Sounds like you gotta start giving people the Malachi crutch.
I do have a feeling that components of this expansion will promote the Malachi crunch, which is very exciting. I'm kind of excited to see a shift in meta that favors some more Malachi crunching over the traditional boat float. That's what civilized society is for.
We can also see the last Bastion has a special space dock, which at a glance looks pretty run-of-the-mill, but then you see the resource value of this planet is increased by 1. So first of all, that's going to beef up the planets that you already would place a space dock on. But then it also makes you think maybe some planets that you would be less inclined to throw a dock onto are now more viable. So maybe you like the position of, let's say, a 2-resource planet, but you were hesitant to put a space dock down because that only gets you to 4 production. That bumps it up to 3 resources, bumps it up to 5 production. You might be more tempted.
And here's a fun thing that balances that out. This is a 1 commodity faction.
Yeah, the first 1 commodity faction.
But again, we don't know all the components coming with Thunder's Edge. For all we know, there might be ways to change that value now.
It's true, there's some art on the back of the box that would suggest there is a way to do that. Perhaps.
Per chance.
Per slice.
Per expedition. So as we mentioned, this box will include the codices, but what's interesting is, in an image of the preview, it looks like the insider information card is different than what we were used to. It says to look at the top 3 agendas instead of just the top agenda, which makes me wonder what else has been tweaked from the codices. I'm very pumped to find out. They're also providing updated reference cards for the factions, and it's cool because we can now see what their breakthroughs are on each of these reference cards.
Yeah, they have an image here of the new Ghosts of Creus reference card, which gives us a little sneak peek at their breakthrough as well. It's going to give you blue-yellow tech synergy. And the summary is it allows you to produce units from wormholes.
Finally, the ghosts doing what they were born to do.
They already were able to pop up some fighters with that commander, but it reminds me a little bit of the Muad ability to start building in supernovas. I'm excited to see how K. Ruthless makes use of that breakthrough in next year's Stooge for the Throne final.
We're all on the edge of our seats. Alright, next it seems like they have a couple of cards for Twilight Inscription players. That's not us, but good for them. Enjoy those cards.
Hope you guys like them. Let us know how they are.
And finally, it seems like there's going to be a whole new way to play Twilight Imperium, aside from these Galactic Events, which are their own whole new ways. They are introducing what is called Twilight's Fall. And this is actually set in a dark alternate future of the Twilight Imperium universe. And this is a mode where each player takes up the mantle of a Mad Mahakt king and build their own custom factions from the scraps of everyone else. So, sounds like a Franken-esque mode over here. And there are 8 Mahakt King faction artwork and I presume sheet cards that will go along with this game mode. And they're looking super cool, just the stylized, colorful Mahakts.
We were lucky enough in New Zealand to play Franken in real life with this amazing set of printed out components, and it looks like we're all going to be able to grab some Franken in real life with this new crazy Mahakt King mode. Yeah, one thing that really telegraphs this truly is Franken is that these crazy Mahakt faction sheets on the back of the box have no section for faction abilities where they usually would. But curiously enough, they do seem to have a flagship, at least on this The Ruby Monarch faction sheet. They also have a crazy War Sun.
Yeah, the artwork on what's previewed here at the back of the box is very fun. Very curious to see how directly it translates into Franken or something different. There's other fun components on the back of the box here.
Looks like we get a glance at the last Bastion's home system, which includes Ordinian, but is also in what looks like a nebula?
And the other planet in their home has some kind of commodity symbol on it, which is what indicates to us maybe that's a thing. It seems like there's also going to be a bunch of new planet tiles included in this box. 43 planet cards cited on the back, along with leaders, mechs, faction techs, promissory notes, faction components, the breakthrough cards, relics, legendary planet cards, 10 abilities to be precise, 3 fractured tiles, 33 system and hyperlane tiles, a couple of revised strategy cards, like 500 tokens, the neutral set of units, and then all the components from the codices.
This is truly a big box. It really lived up to the box-shaped thing hype.
And we are ready for it to be in our homes, in our clutches, in our embrace.
On our 2 folding tables that we squish together and then tape so that there's enough table space for everyone to play.
We are waiting for you, Thunder's Edge. Believe me when I say we will put you to good use. And that's about it for what's been previewed for the Thunder's Edge expansion. Certainly, if you do some digging, you'll find some more information on certain components out there. But this is what has been released on the Fantasy Flight page. And as always, we have some lore that comes out with Twilight Imperium stuff. And this one is a novel called Thunder's Edge, Echoes of Memory. So if that's your shindig, get your reading glasses on. October 24th, it's coming.
Add me on Goodreads. I'll read your reviews of the new book. I am just super pumped to dig into this expansion. Believe us, as soon as there is more information revealed, we will be going over it as it comes out, leading up to the release. I just can't wait to play this thing.
It's going to be good times for everyone, and we look forward to sharing this gift with all of you. So that about wraps up our talk here regarding Thunder's Edge. Just a reminder, if you haven't been following the TI Junkies Alliance tournament, the championship game is this upcoming weekend. The teams we're going to be seeing competing this weekend are Saucy Campanelle, which are Bells, and last year's Stooge for the Throne Stooge Master, Banner Spear. We got Team Mongoose, this year's Stooge for the Throne finalist Carnal, and Big and Huge. And we got Team Spice and Slice, yours truly, Rand, and Taba. So us 3 teams will be competing next weekend. Come check out the stream, come root for me, and we'll be recapping the details of the past 3 games in the championship in next week's podcast.
It's going to be a hype final. We hope to see you all there.
We only have a couple months left of pre-Thunder's Edge TI gameplay, so let's make the most of it, and let's always continue to bring on the spice.
Take care, y'all. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Twilight Imperium Junkies podcast.
If you like what we do and want to support the show, check out our Patreon, where amongst other things, you can vote on topics for future episodes.
Keep up with the TI Junkies series by subscribing on YouTube.
Until next time, keep stooging, or maybe don't.
Unless you're my stooge.